What's up, everybody? Go Burns, welcoming you to the final vlog of 2016. By the way, I want to thank you all, each and every one of you, for taking the time to watch my vlogs, liking them, leaving comments. It really means a lot to me. And, of course, for over 100 subscribers over on this channel. You guys are awesome. And I want to wish you all happy holidays and hopefully a happy new year. Hopefully 2017 will be way better because from my experience, playing into the title of the vlog, 2016 kind of sucked a lot. I mean, yes, there were, just like any year, there were some good things that happened, but there was like a whole lot of bad things. Some personal stuff as well, like, for example, my dad passing away in 2016. That was a pretty shitty thing back in September. Another reason why I didn't like this year too much, but yesterday, another nail in the coffin for 2016. Carrie Fisher, aka Princess Leia, passed away at the age of 60. And to a Star Wars fan, that really blows. I mean, to her family, obviously, it's even more devastating because, you know, she leaves behind her mom, Debbie Reynolds, her daughter, you know, her brother, and other friends and family that were close to her, as well as those that worked with her on Star Wars, like Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, and several others as well. Warwick Davis, for example. I saw several tweets, and you know, Warwick Davis, pretty good actor too, and Anthony Daniels, who played C-3PO. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people were touched by her life and devastated, just like Mark Hamill said in his tweet, that she's no longer here. And she's become one with the Force. And I would like to believe that there's such a thing, whether you call it God or the Supreme Being or something more than what this life is. Why not be the Force, right? But, I mean, she had a lot of experience that was good and bad. I mean, she had an interesting life. And that's the point, though. I mean, she lived her life the way she chose to. She was kind of a party girl. She liked to have fun. A little too much fun sometimes. But at the same time, she was not afraid of having experiences. And her character, Leia Organa, I would say, was definitely a great role model for a lot of women out there. Young girls growing up, looking for somebody to look up to. And Princess Leia wasn't just your typical damsel in distress. I mean, yeah, there were times when she had to be rescued, but there were plenty of times when she was the brains, she had an idea, when she was also capable of fighting. I mean, she took out several stormtroopers and scoundrels over the original trilogy. So she wasn't afraid to fight. She definitely wasn't. So she was, I guess, what you could say, a great role model for young girls and women to look up to in a fictional series like Star Wars. And as someone who loved the original trilogy, kind of liked the prequels. There are things about the prequels I liked. Of course, I enjoyed The Force Awakens. I just rewatched it again last night, actually. But anyways, I'm getting off topic there. What we're talking about is experiences. And I think that a lot of times when we become fans of like a series or a movie or movies, those experiences stay with us the rest of our life. The adventures they have, the mistakes that are made, the tragedies that they endure, the good times, the bad times, those are experiences that we share with these characters, whether it's a book or a play or a TV series or even movies. And video games, for example, they are experiences that go with us. And we also develop our own personal experiences from the lives that we live. The good experiences as well as the bad experiences. And the way I see that is it comes down to like two versions. One are the experiences that happen to you that's beyond your control. You know, sometimes they're good experiences that just happen to happen. A lot of times they're not good. Like when my mom passed away when I was very young, and it left a profound experience in my life, even though I did have at least, what, 2 stepmoms that, yeah, a long time ago. But anyways, the point is, you know, growing up without your real mom or without your real dad or without a parent, some of you probably can relate to that, leaves a profound experience in your life. It's a vacancy, a void that never goes away. Even if there is other people in your life, and that's always something you got to focus on, is appreciate that there are still those that you have, like your siblings or another parent or your grandparents or close family or friends that mean a lot to you. But at the same time, you know, we are shaped by the good and bad experiences that we go through, whether they happen and we're just having to deal with it for better or worse, or you make certain choices that lead to good or bad experiences. Another prime example would be, I think it's something I mentioned in my Baton Rouge vlog, I think. I could be wrong about that. But like when I was in radio, another experience I had, you know, getting into radio, is that I worked a few years in Baton Rouge, which is the state capital for Louisiana. And the last year I worked there in 2005, you know, that was when Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans. But the outer band of Hurricane Katrina also hit Baton Rouge to a certain degree, because Baton Rouge was only like an hour away from New Orleans. And it knocked out our power. The result was a experience that I still have to this day. The fact that, you know, there were gas lines and food shortages at stores, and most of the city had no power for several days, and it was just eerie driving back and forth from work, seeing most of the city without power, like an abandoned ghost town. And the fact that you actually had to sit in line for a good 15, 20 minutes or longer just to get some gasoline. And going into a grocery store that you expect to have groceries down to bare bones. All the water's gone, the bread's gone, most of the soup's gone. And that experience definitely stayed with me, because it made me realize how easy it is for everything we take for granted in the first world to go away, for the power to be gone, for there not to be any food at grocery stores, for restaurants to be closed because A, they don't have any power, and B, because of a natural disaster, trucks aren't able to come in and resupply the stores or, you know, restaurants. So yeah, that experience taught me that it's important to always have a little bit of extra water and food on hand, just in case something like that should happen again in the future. And there's always a very real possibility. So that's definitely one experience that's with me. Some other experiences are the ones that you partake in out of curiosity. And like of all experiences, those can end up going good or bad. And I've had a few of those, because I would say I'm a pretty curious creature about things. And whenever I get curious about something, I eventually have to try it. And I've tried a lot of things. Some of them I regret trying. Some of them I enjoyed trying, obviously. I haven't tried everything, so I'm not that curious. But I've tried, just to say I've tried quite a bit in my life. And from the good things, from the bad things, I gained experience. I learned more about who I am, about what I really like, what I really don't like. For example, I learned that I like calamari, even though a lot of people would probably shun at the idea of eating squid. I learned that from an early age, that, you know, calamari actually tastes quite good to me. And I also like licorice and sour candy. I don't like pancakes. I don't like raw onions. I don't know, they just tear my stomach up. They make me really queasy. But I also don't like other food as well, like chicken and dumplings, meatloaf, sweet potatoes, things that I learned through experience that I obviously don't like. But there's plenty of things that I've learned through, you know, consuming or through other ways and means that I like them, for better or worse. And that's really what life is about, you know. We go through all these experiences And it helps shape us. At least those of us, I guess you could say, that are willing to learn from the bad experiences, the things we did, the choices we made that ended up becoming, very regretful. And I'm not talking about simply, trying, something, a delicacy or a food you'd never consumed before. You're like, oh my God, that's horrible. I'll never eat that again. I mean, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, you make decisions based on things that happened to you. Like if you were ever wronged or ever hurt by somebody, or you were betrayed to some degree and you felt like you needed revenge. And this happened to me when I was in my teens. And I guess you could say you were kind of consumed by it, You were so hurt, so betrayed by those you looked up to, those you thought you could trust. And the only thing that really comes across your mind, the only thing you can focus on is getting revenge. And whenever you attempt to get that revenge, it backfires on you. And so the lesson is, from my own personal experience, is revenge is not the answer. That's what I would say to you right now. I would say the best thing to do in a similar situation is simply walk away. If someone or some group does something to you that you were part of and it causes the same feelings that I had when I was younger, a sense of being hurt or betrayed, the best thing to do is, like I said, say fuck them and I'm done. Walk away and don't allow the vengeance to get the better of you. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about serious, like, criminal things, because there's certain things where, like, if something really, really bad happens to you, the obvious thing you're going to do is go report them to the cops, to police or some authority figure. You know what I mean. I think some of you get the idea of what I'm talking about. Typical, I guess, teenage stuff from back in the day. But still, I mean, it's nothing trifle. It's just, anyways, the lesson is we always have to be willing to learn from your experiences. And I definitely got plenty of those. Plenty of good ones, plenty of bad ones, plenty of fun ones too. Things I've done, I'm like, yeah, I kind of enjoyed that. And some I'm like, okay, well, maybe I enjoyed that a little too much. And others being like, what the fuck was I thinking? Or you're like, what the hell is wrong with me? Plenty of those experiences too. But, that's just life. And, I guess it kind of ties in with maybe some of my other vlogs I've done as well, specifically relationships. And, I've got plenty of experience there when it comes to good relationships and bad relationships. As I pointed out, a month or so back. And despite regrets, despite the fact that there are one or two that I wish didn't end, I mean, a lot of them end because, things are that's just the way it's meant to be, But I would say that there might be one relationship that I kind of wished wouldn't have ended. And it's the relationship that you had control over. The ones where I got dumped, okay, I can accept that because they did not see me as a viable partner. It's like one of my friends now, okay? She and I used to be a couple years ago, and it didn't work out. And for the longest of time, we didn't talk to each other. But then out of the blue, a few months ago, back in the summer, we started talking again, and we started hanging out again, and now we're friends. And we still occasionally joke about our previous romantic involvement. But, it's the past. And, I would say that I gained a lot of experience by being in that relationship, just like I've gained from all of them. I learned a little bit more about myself, realizing that, I wasn't always the victim, that, sometimes I was the one who made the mistakes, and that it does take two to tango. And sometimes, even if two people have chemistry and common interests, sometimes there's just not enough there to make a relationship last. But at the same time, there might be enough there for a friendship to flourish. So sometimes it's better to keep somebody in the friend zone than in a relationship. And, I guess the lesson there is once a relationship ends, the best thing to do is move on. Because the only way a relationship really can thrive and survive if is both people are into it. And if only one person is into the relationship, it's not going to last. It's not going to work out. But I would say that when it comes to personal relationships, I have learned another lesson, is that when you're with somebody who you really enjoy being with, and there is an issue of distance, you should try and do something about it. You should try and make sure that that relationship doesn't die. Because when I was a little younger, about nearly 10 years ago, I would say I was probably in one of the best relationships I'd been in. And, I mean, the other relationship wasn't bad either, the one I just mentioned. And I don't know why this has turned into another relationships vlog, but anyways, I'm just tying in it with experiences, okay? So there. By the way, if you haven't checked out my relationships vlog and you want some relationship advice from someone who's obviously horrible at relationships, well, you're welcome. But anyway, so I was 10 years ago in this really good relationship. And it was one of those summer things. So she was out of school. She was going to college. And we became involved. And it was great. You know, I enjoyed being with her 24/7 whenever we were together. And whenever, like, the summer was ending and, you know, it was getting close to her having to go back to college because she lived where her college was several hours away, which would have made the relationship very difficult. I mean, not impossible, but I guess from previous experiences with long-distance relationships, I decided the best thing to do was to end the relationship on the best of terms, and it's hard to do that. It's always difficult, but I would say that in the end, it was a decision I made based off experiences, and maybe I shouldn't have made that decision because maybe I should have tried. Maybe I should have, you know, put more effort into it. Maybe I could have gone and saw her every other weekend, spent some time with her. Maybe the relationship would have survived. Maybe. Then again, maybe not, because I'm a firm believer that everything happens the way it's meant to. And the lesson here is to not dwell on the coulda, woulda, shouldas, like I was just doing a moment ago, because it's pointless. It's in the past. It's over and done. You always have to look forward. We learn from the past. We learn from our experiences, the good ones and the bad ones. And you hope that it molds you into the person you're meant to be, and it makes you a better person. And at the same time, you know, when things end, they end. And that's just the way it goes. Asshole, don't hit me. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess the problem is, like during the holiday season when you're alone, you really start to, I guess it's just the way we're wired. You know, we're wired to where we would like to have somebody, a companion, a partner, a lover. And when you're single, during this time of year, it kind of sucks. But at the same time, I've been in enough miserable relationships to tell you this much. It is better to be single than that alternative. And that's from my own experience right there. So, yeah. But anyways, everything we do is shaped. Everything we do. The things we endure, the choices we make, our curiosities, the likes, dislikes, the tastes that we ultimately acquire, the person that we are or will be tomorrow or next year is based upon the experiences that we've had and will have down the road. And you can either A, ignore those experiences, especially the ones that can teach you lessons about, you know, not repeating mistakes. Or, you know, you can unfortunately continue to make mistakes. Continue to do things over and over again like a broken record, beating that dead horse, and continuing to wonder, well, why does things continue to go this way? Well, maybe it's because you're not learning from your mistakes. You're not learning from your experiences. And if you had a bad experience with this or that, maybe you should learn. That's just the key word, knowledge. And yeah, someone else, like, I was talking to somebody else the other day, and they were looking back on a relationship they were in. I know this has become relationship 2.0. And they were just looking back wondering, well, why was I with that person for so many years that treated me so badly? And it's the same thing. You had the knowledge, you had the experience already to realize that this was not a good person to be with, and you should have learned from that experience. But eventually you do learn from it, because eventually you make the decision that, yes, I've had enough. Fuck this. I'm out. I'm done. Over. I'm finished. And it's just a question of how long does it take for you to finally, sit back and open your eyes and your ears and listen to yourself, and to look at the situation you're in and realize that some things just don't work out no matter how hard you want them to. And the best thing to do is to sometimes walk away, whether it's from a relationship or from a career that you absolutely hate, or the people that were in your lives that you no longer mesh with, like friends or even family, or even a belief that you no longer agree with. If it's anything that's leaving a bad experience in you that you walk away from every time, that you dread getting involved with, and that could be for anything, then it's something you definitely need to think about, and something you definitely should consider not doing anymore. But on the other hand, you should always, go after those things you look forward to. The experiences that you enjoy, the passions, the hobbies, the curiosities, the interests. Those things that, leave that special twinkle in your eye are what you should pursue. And that can go for just about everything in life. Whether it's a potential significant other, or a career, or a passion. You got to focus on that. So learn from the bad experiences and always gain from the good experiences. You technically gain by both if you are willing to. Okay, so to wrap it up, I'm going to put it at the simplest of terms. When it comes to a bad experience, you would not continue eating something you hate. If you got nauseous at the very idea of eating turkey. By the way, I love turkey, but some people don't. Why would you continue to eat turkey? You eat turkey one time, it's awful. You hate it. You just can't stand it. And next year is Thanksgiving, and you're dreading eating turkey. But you do it anyways. Why? Why did you do that? Why did you do something that you did not want to do, that you didn't have to do? This was not like jury duty or paying taxes, for crying out loud. By the way, taxation is theft. Shout out to all my libertarian peeps out there. All right, so anyways, like I'm saying, this is something you had a choice. You did not have to eat the turkey at Thanksgiving. You could have had ham. You could have just had the stuffing. You could have just had cranberries, or pumpkin pie, or apple pie. You could have refrained from the turkey. And most people would be like, well, Go Burns, of course, I wouldn't eat the turkey if that's something I don't like, because I had a bad experience eating turkey. I don't want any more turkey. Then okay, then take that lesson right there from not wanting to eat turkey because it leaves you with a bad taste, a bad experience, and take it a step further to everything else in your life. And therefore, you will learn from those bad choices, those bad experiences that you have, in the hopes of having less bad experiences down the road, and hopefully more experiences that are good ones. Now, obviously, I edited out that little brain fart. I kind of I don't know where I went with that, but anyways, regarding life lessons, as I've been saying, as I'm stating, by focusing on the good experiences, by not being afraid to have experiences, especially things that are of interest to you, you will get a better idea of what you like and what you don't like. And the things you don't like, you never do again, or at least you try not to ever do it again. And you focus on, shaping yourself based on your experiences. The knowledge you've gained, the lessons learned, will help you become a better person, the person that you are meant to be. And I will say one thing: experience if you allow it to be nourished and to grow and to be learned from, does lead towards wisdom. And wisdom is something that can go a long ways towards making you a much more fulfilled person before we all experience that last thing in our life, death. So before that happens, and if you want to ensure that your experiences continue, be sure and learn from those experiences, because you never know. The simple act of learning the lesson of wearing a seatbelt or stop smoking cigarettes, because both have the potential to shorten your life if you don't wear seatbelts, or if you continue chain smoking, or if you are a serious alcoholic, or if you have drug problems. It can go a long ways towards ensuring that your life will be as long and as fulfilled as it possibly can be. But then again, as I've already stated, everything that happens in this life, including our deaths, I believe happens no matter what. Eventually, we all die. But eventually, maybe tomorrow, maybe next year, maybe next decade. But until that day comes, the best thing to do is to continue living your life and having those experiences. Because that's what it's really all about. Getting up and having new experiences. The good ones, and yes, even the bad experiences. And in conclusion, here's to hoping that we have way more good experiences in 2017 than we did in 2016, because for the most part, I pretty much feel like 2016 kind of sucked. Yeah,